This percent is the amount of other people who are taking this exact USMLE UWorld. How many are also getting it right? So 9% choose this E, and that was wrong. 54% got it correct. Now, something to always remember is very rarely are these percentages 100%. That means don't get bogged down of 54% other people got it right and I couldn't. Now I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. No, that's not the case at all. That means you're still learning. Okay, I am so excited because we are going through UWorld for USMLE Step 1. My name is Dr. Moss. I am a second year, almost a third year psychiatry resident. I'll be going through what has changed since couple years now since I've been on USMLE Step 1. I've done USMLE 1, 2, and 3. I've passed all of them now because I am a UWorld affiliate. They gave me access to all the USMLE UWorld. Today, I'm going to be going through in USMLE Step 1. I'll be going over how I was able to use the USMLE UWorld throughout my first and second year of medical school, how I used it during my leave of absence when I ended up failing the Step 1 exam, and how I used UWorld to help me get over this slump of not being able to pass and actually eventually pass the USMLE. So get ready. I'm going to be sharing my screen and let's get into this. So already at the very beginning, I'm seeing, when are you taking the STEP exam? I always recommend at least 2 months. 1 month that you're learning the material, 1 month that you're really practicing exactly like the exam. But we're going to pretend that, let's say I'm a first year medical student and I'll be taking it in a year because I'm going to be working on it throughout the summer. No, let's go the 2 months. Let's pretend I didn't. So 2026, April, May. So it's already middle of April. So let's say end of June. So it gives me all of May and all of June to take my exam. Okay, already let's look at all the questions. Look at 3,659 questions. Now, there's no way you're going to be able to do all this in the 2 months of dedicated Step 1. So the reality is you should be really starting to do this about a year out before your exam. And I like to do it while I'm actually learning the material. If your school is based on subject space, while I'm in anatomy, I'll be doing just the anatomy. So I'll be removing all the other ones so I can actually just unclick and just do anatomy. Or let's say I'm on the micro block, I'm going to be just doing the micro block. And notice that when you select one type, it reduces the number of systems. So there's micro in tons of different systems. And so I like to always put all the systems. You don't have to click through everyone, but you can actually just go through, okay, I want just microbiology. And then I really struggle with the microbiology that are associated with, let's say, the gut, the gastronutrition. And look at, there's only 18. Now, it's good to note that a lot of the USMLEs have been moving from the 40 questions to only 20 questions per block. And so what I always recommend is you do the number of questions that are actually in the block. So let's go back, micro, let's do all the systems. The maximum it usually lets you is 40. Since it was usually 40 questions, it is nice to get your body used to doing 40 questions in a row. Let's go now looking at these two different versions. There's tutor mode and timed mode. So tutor mode means that you're going to click a question. Let's do an example. Let's just do 1 question or 2 questions so you can see. So when I put 2 questions in tutor mode, it's going to be showing me a question. I'm going to select, and then when I submit, it's going to actually have the answer. I'm not going to go through all the questions right now because I'm just teaching you how it works. So once I do submit, it will tell me if I got it right, if I got it wrong, and then this percent is the amount of other people who are taking this exact USMLE World, how many are also getting it right? Select that answer. So 9% choose this E, and that was wrong. 54% got it correct. Now, something to always remember is very rarely are these percentages 100%. That means that don't get bogged down of 54% other people got it right and I couldn't. Now I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. No, that's not the case at all. That means you're still learning. Maybe let's say if it says 80 to 90%, that's something that we really want to watch or want to read again. Let's say that if I want to practice this question again, I put mark. And there'll be a section later on that I can select all the marked questions. So usually when I was doing the step one exam, I would have a certain date that I would just practice my flagged or my marked questions. Now, something that I love about UWorld is that it doesn't just tell you which one's correct. It gives you everything. It gives you a picture or a diagram. It gives an explanation, a really in-depth explanation. And this is the most important that a lot of people forget. A lot of students forget. Even if they get it wrong, they just quickly go through and next. That's not how you do tutor mode, and that's not how you review an exam. You need to go through and understand why is A wrong? Why is B wrong? Why is C wrong? Really spend time understanding because the exam is not going to be obviously this exact question, but all the topics will be there. So if they had just switched the question around, how could it be that makes B correct? You really need to understand it. That's why just reviewing the questions takes so much time. But when you're learning the material, that's exactly what you want to do is tutor mode and spend double the amount of time. Let's say you take a minute and a half to go over the question. That means you need to spend at least 3 minutes going over the answers. Now, like I said, in tutor mode, this allows us to then go to the next question and see the answer versus if I had just done the other mode. Now I'm talking about timed mode, that's very different. It doesn't show you the answer. This is really important. A lot of people forget to do timed mode, and that is an important thing to do, especially when you're practicing for the exam. So when you're actually in your dedicated time, let's say 4 or 6 weeks of dedicated, you should only be doing in timed mode and you should be doing all subjects and all mixed questions. So mixed instead of doing all one subject because the step exam or COMLEX is not, it's not an entire block just on anatomy or just on microbiology. It's mixed questions, mixed subjects, mixed systems. It's so key. And when I work with a lot of medical students who fail their exams, they failed because they did not do timed mode at the exact question mode, treat it like a real exam. So that is one of my key tips. So I'm going to go previous exam. I'm going to resume what I was doing. Let's go back to this question. Let's pretend I really liked this picture and explanation, and it's something that I really just don't remember a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the picture to see it bigger. Now we have a lot of different options here. We can get closer, farther away. This one, you can create your own flashcards, which is wonderful because it actually puts in the picture and you can tag it a certain name. Something that I did is I actually went through and I started creating my own. In my notes, I started creating a deck. So I created a new deck on, let's say, this is genetics. So then every single time I have something with genetics, I'm going to put it in this file. Every single flashcard in this file. And this one is very, let's see, so I can tag it genetics, cell assortment. Let's just do it again, genetics, that I can always search them. And then back, let's actually add something. I'm going to save it and let's add something from down here. This is really focused on the viruses. So maybe I'm really into something that maybe I needed a better explanation. So genetic reassortment. I'm going to go back to adding it to my flashcard. Ooh, that's new. Add annotation. Oh, that's really cool. Like I said, they've done so many new things since I've used it. So I want this. So I want this. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to add it to an existing flashcard, not a new flashcard. Let's pretend I struggled to find it. That's where I can look through all my subjects marked. Oh, even color. There's so many ways to organize it. So do whatever makes sense to you. But it was this one. I'm going to add it to the back. And then you can turn it into a real time flashcard of what is genetic reassortment. Or you can do it just by having a picture and saying, okay, practice explaining it. That's one way to do it too. There's so many ways to make a flashcard, but it's a really cool digital way. And you can do it all on your phone too. That's something that I did. I was just flipping through my flashcards that I created on UWorld on the UWorld app. And this says right here that I've added in a flashcard. Cool. Let's go to the next question again. And I'm not even reading these, honestly. But sure, let's. Oh, a psych resident that finished step one, two, three is about to do step one. Okay, we can go over how to do a question. So, always a great way to look at questions. Look at the last sentence. That way, you have an idea of what's going on. Which of the following organisms is the most likely to cause a condition? So, I'm going to be looking for a condition, a medical condition. I'm going to highlight it, and highlighting it is so important, but you make sure you don't go too crazy with all your highlights. So, which of the following organisms caused this? So, I'm going to be looking for an organism. And then something that's really important is ages and genders. So, 34 and woman due to skin. So, I'm thinking of something to do with the skin. Blotches, different color, tingling sensation in your hands. That sounds like a neurological thing. And then timelines are super important. I don't think you can change colors of shades on the actual step exam, so I'm always going to keep it one color. But if you remember, if they do, then do different colors. No other history, so locations, timeline, dates, gender, parts of the body, those are all great things to highlight. Skin anesthesia. So remember that's something big that they do in UWorld and step exams is that they do different words to describe the same thing. And I remember when I was in medical school, I freaked out because I was like, I don't know, I only know, like for the example, I only know one way to describe one thing, but that's not the case. You have to think about synonyms. What are the all the other ways to describe this condition? That's why it's helpful to verbalize it when explaining it. So anesthesia means removal of pain. Think about that's what anesthesiologists do. Hypopigment. So decrease pigmentation on the extremities, upper nerve biopsy. So they actually, I guess, because she was having the tingling, many organisms invading Schwann cells, HIV test negative, which of the following cause her conditions? And this is like ringing a bell in my head, but this is perfect that I don't remember it exactly because we can go through what I'm thinking in my head. And that's sometimes when you don't know, a really great way is just to remove things that you definitely know are wrong. Because if they're a little bit wrong, they're 100% wrong. So Borrelia is the tick. Tick doesn't have anything to do with a hypopigmented, that's a hyperpigmented red thing. And doesn't have a loss of sensation. So a little bit wrong, all wrong. Campylobacter, that is from the diarrhea, from chicken. There's nothing to do with rashes, so I'm going to cut that out. Diphtheria, that's with the big red on the neck. Again, I don't think it has anything to do with rashes. Leprosy, that definitely can have hypopigments. It would be in East Africa, like in an African desert. That's a possibility. I'm not going to click it yet, Oh, and notice as I'm going through and removing, I'm clicking on the word and you can just unclick it for the line to come out. Treponema pallidum, that's syphilis. Syphilis has big, like almost tumors, skin tumors. It does do neurologic, but it does brain neurologic. So that's not it. So it's probably leprosy. Amazing. And remember how I said before, the if it's maybe 80, 90, 100%, you really need to know this. So let's say I didn't do this correctly, I would definitely mark this. The fact that I got it correctly, great. Now, important, we're in learning mode right now. So even though I got it right, I'm still going to go through my explanation answer to make sure I know everything that your world thinks I need to know about leprosy or about immune response. So a specific skin test it looks like, about leprosy, T cell. I remember that the T1 versus T2 response was huge. Let's, instead of doing in the flashcards, let's talk about now adding it to a notebook. That's another great way that UWorld, I don't think they had it until my step 2 exam, and I started using it because as the way I was using my flashcards, I would create it in a notebook. So I'm going to click a notebook. Same thing. I can create a section. So T1 versus T2 would be microbiology. And then when I just click it, it asks me, because I highlighted, do you want to insert content? Yes. And then I can play around however is best for you. But the big one is T1 versus T2 in micro. I'm going to increase the size to really remember that this is what's important on this topic. And then I'm going to save, and every time I have something to do with micro that I think it's important, I'll add it to this sheet. And you can also do tags now. I love that. So you can find it really quickly. You can search notes. So if I wanted to do T1, let's see if it comes up. Yeah, amazing. Ooh, this is so much of a greater virtual journal. And same thing, you can see it on your app. I love this. Okay, so we went over my notebook, we went over flashcards, we went over how to answer a question, we went over how to X out different questions, how to save them. Now, the best part that I'm super excited about for the new UWorld is it now has a medical library. In the past, it would just have like links to external sources, which no one ever clicked to that. Maybe you did, but it was too much. This, it looks like it goes with the exact amount of information you need. Oh my goodness. I love this so much. It's almost like your own little first aid. So let's say I completely forgot about leprosy. Here I can learn about pathogenesis, how it's transmitted, the immune response, how it presents this key. Oh, and it looks like I can bookmark it. Nice. Oh, what happened? Go back. Okay. What is this? Ooh, hide highlights. Is there things that are highlighted? Oh, is this me highlighting? Look at that. Would you like to show highlights and annotations? Yes. And then I can hide them. Interesting. I'm learning this is the same as you. And this play audio. Oh my goodness. Especially when we get so tired of reading. And this is also great for an accommodations for individuals like with ADHD that are just that have trouble focusing, so difficulty reading. So you can just listen to this and oh, your world, props to you. That's phenomenal. I can totally see myself like doing dishes and just listening about leprosy. It's pretty much my own little video to learn about it. And then I can mark as read to show that I did it. Phenomenal. I wonder, oh, we have summary. How else? Looks like tags. It would be really cool if they also had these are the quizzes that you have to do, but that would defeat the whole point of practicing per step because you don't know exactly what you're tested. But I guess you could go back to questions. I already finished. Okay, the test results. So you can see your score compared to the average. This, again, I want to go over how much emotional pain we put on these scores. It's just to know how, think of this is to know how you're doing over time. Don't let a single bad score or a couple ruin your motivation to keep going. This is to show when if I did a lot of them, I can see performance and I can see, okay, this is how many on average I'm getting correct, which 23rd is pretty good. I think you wanted to do 65, 70% to have a really good chance of passing step one. And I've done two. Look at how many I have left to do. Okay. According to this, their medium is 63%. So if you hit 63% or this medium, you can have a really good chance that compared to everyone else that's taking the exam, you're going to be at the middle score. I'm going to say I never got that high. Never. But I was able to pass. Yes, it took me some time to go through. And what is standard versus custom? Oh, this is if you know a specific question. If there are specific questions you want to go over, you can put the ID and let me know, and then we can all go through them together. And that actually brings a really great point of accommodations, which doesn't look like you can do it during tutor, but let's go over the timed because this is important. Thank you, UWorld. I was asking them to do this for a while. They did not have it, but now they do. If you get timed accommodations for your STEP exam, I always got the 1.25. A lot of individuals that I've helped get accommodations, I helped them get 1.5 or 2 or extra break time. Check out my blog posts and videos on how to get accommodations or check out my workbook. Now you can see what are the specific things they look for in your personal statement, in the letters from providers. But no, you do not need a neuropsych. No, you do not need to have a previous history of receiving accommodations. I never received accommodations in medical school or any exam up until USMLE. But definitely practice what you're going to be given. So if you don't know if you're going to be given anything, practice at standard speed because the worst case happens, you'll have to do it at standard speed. At least confidently, I've practiced that way. Okay, so remember how I mentioned if I wanted to go over your marked questions, you can either do it like once a week or once a month. I did it definitely at the end, like the last 2 weeks. I went back and did all of my marked because I've ran out of my unused. So I did a mix of my marked and my incorrect right before the exam. So I knew those are the ones that I knew they were high yield, that they were high percentage, that other people got correct, but I didn't. So I really wanted to know that. So we talked about the flashcards. Look at my deck of how you can click through your decks. Ready decks. Oh, that's amazing. UWorld, you were just surprising me. And I guess this will be a good time to just throw out my discount code of 10% savings. I'm a UWorld affiliate, and so it is Steph, STEPH 10 for 10% savings. Oh my goodness. Look at these amazing flashcards they pre-created, so you don't even have to go through and make your own. I love that. That's phenomenal. Thank you, UWorld, for doing that. I'm so glad I'm just like browsing around all this. But anyway, dashboard. Ooh. So how many I've gotten correct, what percent I've done left. I've done one. Ooh, and then this is also new. Set up your study plan. So it knows I have 313 hours that I need to do. That's a lot. Or I can do want maximum flexibility. It starts with a blank calendar and lets you create customized tasks. Let's start with what they recommend. So I'm going to use my start date, let's say it's today. And then I said that I'm pretending that I'm going into my dedicated period for my test day on June. So that's a full 2 months. You should not be doing 5 minutes per question unless you're doing study mode. I like that you can also do how many flashcards. So you can actually say, I want to do flashcards per day. Okay. And the Oh, what does that say? On explanation. Okay, that's what I was saying. I was like, there's no way that you should be spending 5 minutes per question. You should be spending about a minute and a half. But that makes more sense. So, doing all the questions and then the amount of time it takes to review it. I remember, and it gets a little bit faster after you've seen the questions before. 3 minutes per question for rapid review. That's a great recommendation. During dedicated time, for me, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Saturday, I always think that you should take at minimum a half a day off. So let's say 8 hours. And as a psychiatry resident, you need to take that half a day for mental reset, for your family, for your friends, exercise, whatever you want to do that makes you happy. If not, you're going to burn out and you're just increasing your chance that you're not going to do well on your exam. Trust me, failing USMLE twice, I've learned from these mistakes. Mark off days not available for studying. Amazing. So, like maybe holidays or birthdays. Ooh, catch up day. I love that. I would say every week, and I would say every Saturday. It's important because stuff happens, life happens. You're going to need that extra time. Create plan. Let's see what happens. Oof, I love this. So, how to study. So they're having us do 94 questions. I usually recommend people to do at max 80 questions a day because if not, you can very easily burn out. So the fact that it's so high is telling me that I'm starting from UWorld scratch, which I said you should never do. You should have started UWorld during your second year of medical school or first year doing questions, even if it's 5 a day, just to start to get used to the way they ask their questions because not every school does it in this format. And I'm sure if you then do it to that level that you do a couple questions a day, this should be down to 80 questions. But it's pretty good in doing 8 hours a day. And then Saturday is catch up day. So I guess if I didn't do a full day of catch up, then that's how it could probably also go down to 40. So it is still possible. And something else I don't see in here that we could have added is, and you can check mark when you've done it. I love that. Okay. I'm totally being like a study nerd, which I guess you had to be in medicine, but this is beautiful. Mark all tasks, move all tasks. Oh, amazing. You can move it around. And notice it doesn't say the types of questions. Oh, but you could. Interesting. Say, okay, this remember, you should always do mixed topics, or if you're doing it by subjects, try to be as general as possible. So maybe I want to do everything to do with bio. I really don't like it by subjects, honestly. Let's do all subjects. And then if you really want to go like everything to do with renal, that's a good way to do it. So today I'm going to remember everything to do with renal or everything to do with neuro because I'm really bad at neuro. I'm actually really good at neuro because neuropsych, my husband's a neurology resident, so very good at neuro. And 40 questions. Oh, and then you can start the test from there or at least pre-make it so then you don't even have to think. There's an option. So we did study planner. We talked about a little bit about the medical library. I guess we clicked the medical library from the question. How can I help you? Oh, and it has a little AI to help you through it. Amazing. We already did leprosy, so I'm going to see if I can minimize this. How is this organized? Okay, everything to do with infectious disease. Oh, perfect. And it does do an explanation, how to find articles, how to use bookmarks. And then there is a way to search it if I need to look up mono. Oh, look at all the types of monos. I'm getting flashbacks of step one through this, which makes sense, but I don't envy all of you that you have to take step one exam. Would not go back. which I then ask myself why I'm doing this. But the reason I'm doing is because I struggled a lot, and thankfully, through my struggles, I can help you not have the same struggles. And I meet with students all the time who have failed the exam or, and I'm going to actually, I'll remove. So the reason I do this is because I failed the USMLE Step 1 exam twice. I had to take a leave of absence. I struggled with the questions. I became overwhelmed. I sometimes spent 12 hours a day studying. I did a lot of things that hurt me and contributed to me not doing well. And so I'm here to share with you some tips and tricks that helped me. And then I am so thankful that I'm a USMLE UWorld affiliate, so I can give 10% savings and also share with you how to use UWorld. So let me know in the chat what other questions you have or things I can do to help you while I have this. I'll also be going over, I know for other ones, they have definitely for step 3, they have a biostats section, a CCS section. Step 2, I think they also have a biostats section. So once I get to those, I'll be doing a video on step 2, a video on step 3. But please let me know in the comments what you want to go over. I'll also put in the down below in the comments. The first one will be a link to my blog post on lessons learned from me doing USMLE and failing. And then you can also link to like how to do accommodations because I have a blog post and videos on that. Make sure you like and follow me at Dr. Moss on YouTube or Life as a Patient Doctor, or this podcast will be Medical School with Dr. Moss. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I can't wait to do this again with answering your questions of things that I can further help for UWorld Step 1. Take care, everyone.